With over 260,000 units sold last year, the Jeep Grand Cherokee is what I would call the epitome of the all-American SUV. This is a very important model for Jeep, and last year when the company introduced their all-new 5th generation, first in the long wheelbase L, and then later on in the two-row version, it basically followed the exact formula that we know and love the Jeep Grand Cherokee 4. Now, the big improvement, of course, was finally moving away from the old Mercedes-designed architecture to the new Alfa Romeo Giorgio platform, and in the process, Jeep has also introduced the most high-tech Grand Cherokee ever by introducing the 4xe, the plug-in hybrid. And as you can see, this week, Jeep has loaned me this 2023 Grand Cherokee Overland in the 4xe trim. Just like in the Wrangler, we have a combination of a 2-liter turbo with a powerful electric motor and a 17.3 kilowatt-hour battery pack, promising up to 26 miles of all-electric range. So if you guys are looking for a premium American off-road capable SUV that also happens to have a plug, how does the latest Grand Cherokee 4xe Overland stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Now, a couple months ago, I was actually out in Austin, Texas, where Jeep let me first sample the 4xe powertrain in the all-new Grand Cherokee, and I came away impressed. So this week, we're gonna actually live with the vehicle. We're gonna see what it's like to live with on a daily basis. But first, let me remind you guys what's underneath the hood of this electrified Jeep. Now, underneath the hood, if you guys are familiar with the Wrangler 4xe, you're going to notice that the powertrain is practically the same. Jeep essentially plucked it out of the Wrangler and installed it in the Grand Cherokee. So this combines the company's 2-liter turbocharged direct injection 4-cylinder with a powerful electric motor kind of sandwiched between the transmission and the engine of the vehicle. The powertrain combination comes out to around 375 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. The electric motor on its own gives you about 134 horsepower, while the gas engine on its own gives you about 270 horsepower. So when you add it up, you get 375. This makes this the most powerful version of the current Grand Cherokee for now, at least until Jeep decides to do an SRT version, which they haven't announced anything just yet. It all goes out through an 8-speed automatic transmission, so it has a conventional torque converter automatic with gears. And because of the 17.3 kilowatt-hour battery pack, this will do about 26 miles of all-electric range on a full charge. It has an onboard charger of around 7.2 kilowatts, which means you can charge this vehicle up from empty to full at your home on a level 2 in about 2.5 hours. So that's a relatively quick charger. Fuel economy, if you guys have it in just hybrid mode, running the gas engine, it'll do about 23 mpg combined. Fill it up with electricity, however, and drive it around as a plug-in hybrid in electric only, switching to gas as well, you get around 56 mpge. Thankfully, going plug-in hybrid, the Grand Cherokee hasn't lost any of its capability. This will still tow a maximum of 6,000 pounds, and it is significantly heavier, however, because of the batteries. This does come in and weigh around 5,500 pounds. But let's go ahead and close the hood and talk about the exterior styling of the Grand Cherokee. You can see this new generation is very conservatively updated. I really like, however, what Jeep has done with the exterior styling, especially this Overland trim with the white exterior and the black roof. You can see the 4xEs essentially come very well equipped. You have these standard full LED headlights with LED daytime running light and turn signals. You also have these LED fog lights. This is where you're gonna know you've got the 4xe. It's got these blue front tow hooks, which looks good with the white exterior. You can see you have the signature Jeep 7-slotted grille, along with the blue accented Jeep badge over here at the front. There are also parking sensors and a front camera that includes a washer that you get with this particular model. My particular tester here also has the off-road package that is going to give us the adjustable air suspension, which technically comes standard on the Trailhawk models and up. And you also have these 18-inch wheels. Now, in terms of the size, unlike the L, which is bigger than this vehicle by over a foot, this is kind of the right size proportion car for most Americans who don't need a third row. Its overall length is around 193.5 inches long. Its wheelbase is around just under 117 inches long. So remember, this is not that much bigger than the previous generation, but it is built off of the new Alfa Romeo Giorgio platform. So it no longer shares componentry with an old Mercedes-Benz M-Class, which again dated back to like 2009. Now, looking at the wheels, you can see I really like the 18-inch wheels that you can get with the off-road package on the Overland, which technically this isn't available anymore for 2023. It does come with these all-terrain tires, riding on two 65/60 R18s. Now, most Overlands you're probably going to find have a 20-inch wheel. You can also get a 21-inch wheel if you guys go for the Summit Reserve, and then you can see here the suspension. This one comes standard with the air suspension, which gives you the ability to raise and lower this truck to give you almost 11 inches of ground clearance when it's in its highest setting. Now, another indication that this is the 4xe, you can see it's got a blue trail rated badge here, and then here's the plug for the J1772 connector. Remember, like I said earlier, this will go about 26 miles on a full charge. You can basically top this off from empty to full on a level 2 in about 2.5 hours. It'll take probably 12 hours if you guys are on a level 1 charger. Now over here, you can see the side mirrors are black painted, integrated turn signal, and then you have chrome accents along the window trim. And then my tester also has a massive panoramic glass roof, which goes all the way into the back of the vehicle, which definitely lets in a lot of light. I really love the two-tone color combination of this particular model here, which is typically an upcharge, although the bright white and the black Jeep says is a no-cost option. And then looking at the rear, you can see instantly recognizable as a Grand Cherokee. You have features like full LED taillights. You have kind of the blue accented Jeep logo here. There's a blue accented Overland badge. And then the Overland model also gives you these nicely integrated rear exhaust tips. Now, looking at the cargo area, this is another area where the Grand Cherokee continues to excel at. And when you open this up, there's no compromises here by going plug-in hybrid. You have around 37 cubic feet of total storage space with the second row seats up. Underneath here, you can see there is a big full-size spare, although it's not a full-size spare with a matching. Jeep also continues to give you a level 1 mobile charger. And if you fold down the second row seats, it expands it out to just under 71 cubic feet of space, which is pretty much on par with most of its competitors. So let's move on to the interior of this 2023 Grand Cherokee Overland. Now, the first thing I do want to show you guys is the key fob. You can see this is Jeep's newest key fob. It includes their intelligent access key. It has remote start on the fob. You have lock, unlock. You can also open up the liftgate and use the panic. You should also be able to use your smartphone to access this vehicle, but I don't have access to the Jeep app for this particular car. Now you can see the door handle is pretty conventional looking. It's not got like a digital latch or anything. There's a sensor here where you touch that, that'll lock the door for you. And then you just simply touch the back of the door handle and that unlocks the door for you. Now my tester here has the bright white exterior with the steel gray interior. It's got the global black with the steel gray two-tone color combination. I really like the steel gray in the sense that it's more of like a cream, like an off-white, a very, very light ceramic gray. And it also has kind of this copper accenting stitching, which the Overland model here has the Napa leather. You can also go further up the trim line to the Summit Reserve, which will include the Tupelo Honey Palermo leather, which is even more supple than this. But you can see the headrest is very plush. The seats are plush. These are also heated and ventilated. They adjust in 16 different ways, and they also have a massage function. That's right, a massage function is included with this trim when you get for that optional upcharge for the packages. You can see the button is accessed here. You have 2-person memory on the driver and on the passenger side, along with pretty nice materials. You can see this is a soft touch material. This is actually leather from the dashboard that's carried over here on this lower portion as well. Down here it's hard touch plastic, but this wood here looks real and it looks good, but unfortunately when you touch it, it's totally fake. I believe the Summit Reserve includes the walnut trim, but this model here I think has the fake wood. There's a silver accented door handle here, which could feel a little bit more sturdy, but other than that, the door panel material looks pretty nice here. You also have the 19-speaker Macintosh stereo system, which sounds really good for those of you who are audiophiles. Now, getting in, the step-in height is pretty nice, typical SUV, and you can also, remember, raise and lower the suspension if you need to get a better ride height. But getting in and shutting the door has a nice solid sounding thunk. Jeep does not offer a soft close feature on the Grand Cherokee, however. Now, getting in, the button to fire up the engine is right here, where you'd expect it to be. And then when you do that, you can hear the engine kind of whirs to life. For some reason, it defaults to hybrid mode. If you have it start to electric mode, which the car should have, it actually, as you guys heard, it just shut off the engine, which allows you to just run off the battery. You don't have to hear that 4-cylinder one, which can kind of have like a grainy sound to it from time to time. Now, you can see the dashboard has this beautiful leather stitched material covering the entire dash. It definitely makes it feel a lot higher quality. It's also the same thing on this lower portion. There's some piano black plastic, and then you can see here, this has the latest Uconnect 5 infotainment system. So we have a 10.1-inch display over here that includes over-the-air updates, wireless CarPlay, and Android Auto. It works perfectly fine. I like how it's wireless and it has over-the-air updates. There are times where it takes a second for it to boot up, but once it boots up, it's pretty easy and quick and snappy to use. You can see there's the factory GPS. Nothing super special. Most of you are just going to end up using the GPS in your phone. There's also a 12-inch display over here for the instrument panel, which you can also kind of customize the way this looks here. by using these buttons on the steering wheel. You can see that you can put navigation in here, where we'll put the full embedded GPS in the actual display. You can also get a traditional tachometer with an off-road mode. You can put your audio information. You can also just put a regular speedometer and tach there along with your vehicle info. And then this vehicle also has a night vision assist. So that's something that you get on this particular tester. If you go here to the main menu, it actually will put a night vision camera, or it'll activate that, and you can use that at night to help see things. You can see right now it's the daytime, so you can't really see how that looks. But again, those are pretty premium touches that you can't even get in some competing vehicles. So that's kind of cool to see. Over here, you can see my tester also has the passenger display for an extra $1,100. The passenger display is really for passengers that want to send GPS to this screen here and control some of the music. You can also plug in your phone via an HDMI, and you can also watch movies on that screen, so that's kind of cool. That's an $1,100 upcharge. Not really sure I would go with it, but if you have a passenger there, it could be nice to have that. You can see more of that fake wood. It's a hard touch injection molded plastic down here. I am noticing a couple of panels here that could be tighter fitting. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this one's a really early prototype model. I don't believe it is, but you can see this right here should have been stitched in leather. It kind of reminds you that this is a Grand Cherokee. It starts life out as a $40,000 vehicle. Over here, you can see it's got your heated and ventilated seat controls, which I like how it's hard buttons. If you open this up, you can see there's your wireless phone charging pad. You have 4 USB charging ports along with the HDMI hookup for that screen over there, along with a 12-volt power outlet. You can see this controls the 8-speed automatic, which the transmission, you can see, has this really nice metal knob that you just rotate. If you put the vehicle into reverse, you can see there's your full 360 camera, which is nice. You also have you can also take control of certain camera views, and you can also use like an off-road mode. You can use a front camera. You can also clean the camera by spraying a washer fluid there if it's covered in mud. That's kind of cool. So that's, again, all part of an extra charge if you guys go for this off-road package that my particular tester has. You also have the toggles here for the air suspension, where you can raise and lower this vehicle. And then your drive mode selector, you can see there's a rock, sand, snow, auto, and then a sport mode. And it even shows you a little graphic there when you're switching the drive modes to show which mode you're in. It also will raise the suspension accordingly. This vehicle also has a low range transfer case because this has the Quadra Drive 2, which is nice. Cup holders are over here. This piano black plastic is definitely going to get dirty and scratched. Not my favorite. And then there's a nice padded center armrest here. You can see with 2 levels of storage, relatively deep storage, but how this kind of comes down does eat into the space over there. There's no power outlets in there. There's a little bit of a light, but it is lined with felt. The seats, like I mentioned earlier, are heated and ventilated with massaging. They are very comfortable. When you push the button here to activate the massage, you can see you have 5 different levels of massage and 3 different intensities, and it all works pretty well. So I'm happy to see that kind of upscale touch. In a Jeep especially. You have your max regen right here. If you turn that on and off, that essentially gives you almost a 1-pedal drive. And then some of your driving stuff is up here. I'm surprised that there's an empty button over here. I'm kind of curious to know what that's for. And if you look over here on the glove box, you can see it's stamped and it's lined with felt. It's a bin style. It's a little bit on the smaller end. And then above me here, you can see there's a digital camera review mirror, which is definitely nice. And then you also have this big panoramic glass roof, which you can actually open. You can also close that sunshade, which again lets in a lot of light, and you can also let in some air. So overall, the interior is really high tech. It's solidly built, has most of the features that you're going to want, and there's a ton of space in here along with a killer sound system. So if you guys are expecting this to kind of have an interior that doesn't feel premium, it really does. But if you're going to start comparing it to some even higher end luxury brands, there are a couple of chitsy pieces in here that I think aren't quite befitting of a car that has this price tag. Looking at the back seat, you can see the Grand Cherokee 2-row offers around 38 inches of legroom back here. Remember, the 2-row model doesn't offer a 3rd row, but you do have a 2nd row here that is very well equipped. It has the same premium Napa leather. You can also pull this right here. You can also fold the seat down, which you can see it gives you almost a flat floor back here. And then the seat back itself also offers a recline function, so you can kind of pull that. You can see it'll actually recline back for you. So this is a really nice 2nd row. Unfortunately, this doesn't slide forward and back, but most people are going to just like the fact that the 2nd row has a ton of legroom. In terms of space, you can see padded material here that's also covered in leather, more of that fake wood, padded area over here. And then you also have these manual retractable sunshades, which is definitely nice to give this interior, again, more of that private feel. Now getting back here, you can see the legroom for somebody like me at 5'7" is just very, very generous. As I shut the door, you can see the space back here is really, really nice. The floor is not completely flat, but the vehicle is definitely wide enough to be able to accommodate 3 across. You can see it has 4-zone climate control. So back here, you offer your own set of climate control vents. You have heated rear seats, but not cooled seats. Looks like there's a button here that you could also have it. You have rear seat air vents in the center, and then you also have them over here on the side. You have 4 USB charging ports along with a whole 120 household outlet, which is definitely nice. And then this armrest here folds down and gives you 2 cup holders. So overall, if you're buying the Grand Cherokee as a family vehicle, this will suffice as long as you don't need the 3rd row. And if you just need to carry 4 adults in this vehicle, the Grand Cherokee can easily do that as well. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of people like this kind of mid-size SUV class. So here we are back in the ultimate Grand Cherokee for now. Jeep touts this powertrain as the most powerful and most efficient powertrain that you can get in the all-new 5th generation Grand Cherokee. When I had a chance to drive this vehicle a few months ago, I was relatively impressed. It still has a couple of weird crudeness that you get out of this powertrain that I saw out of the Wrangler, but the Grand Cherokee, Jeep has done a decent job on trying to make this car feel a little bit more smooth. The beauty about this powertrain, however, though, is 375 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. So that is basically the same torque as the 6.4-liter Hemi V8 you could get in the old Grand Cherokee. So let's go ahead and see what we can get 0 to 60-wise. I have it in Sport. The battery is fully charged, traction control off. We'll brake torque it. It is 4-wheel drive, remember? Ooh, this thing definitely, it actually leaps off the line when you brake torque it. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Faster than what I got when I first tested this vehicle out in Texas. 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds when you brake torque it. And that's kind of similar to what I got in the Wrangler 4xe. You have to brake torque this powertrain to get maximum acceleration, which is interesting that you do have to brake torque it. It doesn't technically have launch control, but when you let the revs build up to around 2,000 RPM, it just launches so much more effectively. And you feel the torque of the electric motor. Remember, the electric motor has 181 pound-feet on its own. This gas engine makes 270 horsepower on its own. So it is relatively quick, and this is way quicker versus what you're gonna get out of the naturally aspirated V6 or even the naturally aspirated V8. All right, but let's go ahead and try it one more time here. It's in hybrid mode, Sport, brake torque. Oh God, it really shoves you back into the seat. It launches hard, it's surprising. 5.5 seconds there. This is with it going slightly uphill. So very, very impressive performance that will surprise a lot of people. The Grand Cherokee has never really been a quick vehicle once you get the SRT models. But if you got the quicker models, they were never really efficient. So this is designed to give you the best of both worlds. And that's kind of the beauty about Jeep's 4xe system. But let's go ahead and switch the drive mode here into the auto setting. This should essentially take it out of the hybrid mode. I'm actually going to push the button here to the left that says electric, because I'm going to put this into the electric only mode because we've got about 98% state of charge right now. And what's interesting about the electric powertrain in this car is you can drive it like an electric vehicle when it has some charge. It uses an 8-speed automatic transmission, and what's weird is you can actually feel the transmission shifting when you're in electric only mode. I mean, the car only has like 134 horsepower in this mode, so it's not exactly quick. I'll see if I can test out the 0 to 60 in just EV mode. However, if you floor the accelerator pedal, it will turn the gas engine on to give you maximum acceleration. This is where Jeep could put a stronger electric motor on this car to give it better around town feel. But I think for most people, put my foot down here, it's just not super responsive. But there, you can see I put my foot down hard enough where the gas engine actually came on. I didn't even floor it. I actually put the pedal down about 75%. And that forced the gas engine to come on. Now the engine is off again. You can hear the kind of whiny noise, the whirring noises that the electric motor makes. It's kind of an interesting noise for sure. But it is rather satisfying to drive this vehicle as an electric vehicle. I mean, it's got max regen on, so this vehicle offers kind of its own version of one-pedal drive. You can hear really strange noises that it makes. You can feel it shift, like I said earlier. It's just a really weird experience. Now, for those of you who have a lighter foot, You can drive this vehicle in pure EV mode for up to 25 miles. In my week's worth of testing, in temperatures in the 50 to 60 to 70 degree Fahrenheit range, I got up to 28 miles in pure electric mode, which is actually not bad. 28 is perfectly respectable. This does have less electric range versus the BMW X5 plug-in hybrid, but it does have more electric range versus the Porsche Cayenne e-hybrid and the previous generation Range Rover Sport plug-in hybrid. Now, it should be notated that the Range Rover Sport the new version has roughly double the battery capacity of this. This is just so satisfying. Sorry, I got distracted by the electric motor whirring noise. The new Range Rover that's coming out later this year, or next year, that'll have 51 miles, I believe, of pure electric-only range, which is class leading. It's the most electric-only range ever we've seen for a plug-in, but the Range Rover is going to be far more expensive than this. So the Jeep definitely gives you that sense of, technology and innovation that you're looking for, especially at this price range. And the beauty about the Grand Cherokee is it drives really nice. This is built off of the Giorgio platform, so it's a unibody design. It's got an independent air suspension and it rides really, really nicely. The steering in the Grand Cherokee isn't what I'd call sporty. I mean, this one here with the 18-inch off-road tires also kind of makes it a little bit more truck-like. But visibility is also really good out of it. The interior is quiet, especially when you have an electric-only mode. There are occasions, however, when I lift off the throttle, there's like a shudder that's coming from the car. So this is kind of where I think Jeep could use a little bit more fine-tuning in the refinement department. I think that some brands simply do it a little bit better versus Jeep, especially Volvo's new plug-in hybrid system. Toyota Lexus also comes to mind. Their plug-in hybrid system is just far more refined than this. But, it's a Jeep. It's always going to be a little bit rough around the edges, but that's kind of where I have a little bit of an issue with this car, is the high price tag. I mean, my tester here is a $75,000 proposition. This is not cheap. But if you compare it to things like the new Range Rover or a Porsche, obviously it's going to be less expensive, but you could also buy a BMW for this price that Jeep is asking for this vehicle. But let's go ahead and see what we can get here in electric-only mode. And it woke up the gas engine, so forget it. I literally have to be so gentle with the accelerator there. But that was just without launching it. I got 6.45 seconds there, which honestly feels quick enough. I'd probably say this vehicle takes 14 seconds or 12 seconds, double that time to get to 60 if you're going to be in EV only mode. I'll see if I can redo it again in pure electric mode. I'm going to have to be lighter on the throttle, but this is not quite as the threshold in which this vehicle is going to stay in electric-only mode is far lower than what I expected it to be and what I expect its competitors to be. This is pretty comparable, however, probably to the BMW X5 plug-in, but that, again, gives you more electric-only range. Right now, again, it's driving in pure electric, which is nice. The seats are also pretty comfortable. This car has a plethora of Jeep's driver assistance tech that includes some hands-free highway driving assist, but it's not true hands-off driving. Jeep is still working on that. And the rest of the car just feels really well done. It feels like a tank. It feels like I can take this vehicle off-roading. I can also load it up with a lot of people and stuff. I can tow heavy loads with it. And in my week's worth of testing as well, in terms of fuel economy, I got around 22 mpg in hybrid mode. Now, keep in mind, in hybrid mode, it's going to be not that efficient. If you constantly leave the battery plugged in, Jeep says this will do, or charge, this will do around 56 mpg-e, but 22 mpg is just shy, 23 is the combined rating. It's just shy of what the EPA says it'll do in hybrid mode, which the mpg itself, I believe, is a little bit less versus what you're going to do in the Pentastar V6. You have to credit that again to the extra weight the Jeep is going to give you with this model here. But let's go ahead and see. Try it again in electric only mode. I'll just try to be gentle. You feel it shift. My foot is almost to the floor. It's literally struggling to get it up to speed, and there's a weird delay when it shifts. Literally couldn't even get up to 60 there. Could not get up to 60 there before I ran out of road. That's how slow it is, and that's showing 15.2. Again, that's with the engine coming on, so Jeep definitely needs to do something about increasing the battery capacity or increasing the horsepower of the electric motor, because I think that if they could just give us a little bit more, like increase the range to like 35 miles and give us an extra 50 horsepower for the electric motor, this would certainly be a more enticing proposition to drive as an EV-only vehicle. Again, it's a great first effort for them, and I'm excited to see their first fully dedicated EV. But if they plan to put this powertrain in the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer, they definitely need to seriously up the refinement and up the power from the electric motor system. Now, after spending a full week with the brand new Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe, when I first had a chance to sample the 4xe powertrain, I was relatively impressed. Unlike the somewhat lethargic V6 and the fuel-thirsty V8, this essentially gives you better acceleration versus the V8 with similar fuel efficiency as the V6. Now, keep in mind, you really need to plug this vehicle in to take advantage of the extra fuel efficiency and drive it like an electric vehicle, because when you drive it like a hybrid out on the highway, I was only getting around 22 mpg. I suspect the Pentastar V6 may do even better than that because of the gearing and because of the fact that this is about 500 pounds heavier versus the gas-only equivalents. Now, in terms of the Grand Cherokee as a whole, I think that the new platform is just a stellar improvement. The interior is spacious, is comfortable, is full of the latest tech features, and it really is kind of sized perfectly for most Americans. The build quality also is perfectly acceptable, although this model here, considering the price tag, I kind of expected more. I expected to get real wood. You have to go up to the Summit Reserve to get the real wood that also includes the upgraded Palermo leather. This one here just has the Napa leather, which is fine, but the massaging seat works pretty well. In all honesty, I mean, this one here, having a grand total price of around $75,000, I'm perplexed by, because the 4xe, if you want to go with a 4xe, the Grand Cherokee itself has gotten more expensive. These start at around $40,000. The 4xe starts at around $60,000. In reality, the price difference is about $10,000 compared to a gas-only equivalent, although that kind of drops if you guys go for the 5.7 Hemi, which is like a $3,500 upcharge. The beauty about the Grand Cherokee 4xe is this does still technically qualify for the $7,500 federal tax credit. Remember, since the Inflation Reduction Act, almost over 70% of the vehicles that used to qualify no longer qualify. Thankfully, these are built in North America, so they do still qualify, and that will take the sting out of the $75,000 price tag. Keep in mind, however, this car here, if you guys get it loaded up with everything in the Summit Reserve, can easily cost over $80,000. Now, for that price, you could also get a BMW X5 plug-in hybrid, which has similar power, similar performance, similar range, actually a little bit more range. And then there's also the Porsche Cayenne e-hybrid, which has about less range, but it's also going to be easily $20,000 more. And then there's also the upcoming Range Rover Sport plug-in hybrid, which I would say is probably the direct rival to this vehicle. Haven't had a chance to see one in person yet or drive it, but that model will have roughly twice the range because it has twice the battery capacity of this vehicle. But I suspect the Land Rover will probably easily be about $30,000 to $40,000 more expensive, comparably equipped, but you should be getting better performance. Overall, if you kind of look at this vehicle as a whole, if you compare it to luxury players, the Grand Cherokee 4xe is technically a bargain. However, I don't suspect Jeep in general has the same brand cachet as, say, BMW, as, say, Audi, as, say, Land Rover, for example, or even Lexus. So that's something that you kind of have to get past. If you guys love the Grand Cherokee and you want to essentially go electrified, and you want something with this kind of off-road capability, this is certainly worth a look. But if you start comparing it to mainstream offerings or fully electric vehicles, this is where the Jeep might be a little bit of a confusing proposition. It is definitely aimed more toward a specific buyer, but that's kind of the beauty about the Grand Cherokee, is they offer so many different flavors to appeal to so many different buyers. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee Overland in the 4xe configuration. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.